So here we go, chapter number 3, attaching objects. The base to animate anything, maybe a character or any other mesh, is to attach the mesh or the object to the bones. So first what we need is also an object, in this case here a cube, and we create a new skeleton. And the easiest way to attach the object to the bone is to drag the object, in this case here the cube, from the left side to the right side. So I drag the cube and under the bone, and the cube is directly attached to the bone. And that means if I go to the Animate tab and choose this joint here and move it up and down, you can see the cube is following directly the bone. The complete object here, the complete cube, is controlled by the bone. The other method, where a bone controls a few vertices of the mesh, is called skinning. But this is for the next chapter. Here we want to talk just about attaching objects. Let's go back to the setup and create another bone. And let's try to attach the same object, the cube, also to this bone. I drag and drop this cube to the other bone, and we go back to the Animate page and we see what's happened. Let's move the first bone, and we can see now the cube doesn't move. If I drag now the other one, the cube moves. So why this? If we directly attach an object to a bone, we can just control objects through one bone. We can with one bone we can control with one bone more than one object. This is not a problem, but we can control the same object just with one bone. So you have to keep that in mind. So how can we deattach an object? It is also simple. You have to choose choose or select the object, click with the right mouse button and choose Detach Object from the menu. Now it is detached, and I get the control back to the first bone. Again, I detach this cube here, and what also important is all attached objects are automatically inserted in the skeleton hierarchy. In this case the cube is now under the skeleton hierarchy. If we detach the cube, then we can ungroup the cube if we click it with the right mouse button and choose Ungroup. Now refresh the scene list and you can see the cube is now ungrouped. We cannot just only attaching objects or meshes to bones. We can also attach other objects like maybe a lamp or also other skeletons. So let's create a new one, a second skeleton, and let's attach this skeleton to this bone. This bone here is this, and I rename it as my bone so that we can see the difference. Normally we use the left mouse button to drag an object from here to here, but if we try that with a subskeleton, then we can see if I choose with the left mouse button this skeleton, also this bone here appears, and we are unable to drag them to this bone. So what can we do? Instead of the left mouse button, use the right mouse button. So click the skeleton 1 with the right mouse, drag it to my bone and drop it. And now the skeleton 1 is a subskeleton of this bone here. And this means if I go to the Animate tab, I can now move the bone up and down, and the subskeleton will following this bone. Subskeletons are good to create localized motions and positions. Maybe as a good example, if your character has a hand with a few fingers, then you can create for the fingers a subskeleton. You can add this skeleton to one bone in the character's hand, and after your animation is finished, you can separately move and record the position of the fingers from the hand. It is also possible, and most people don't know this, to attach joints to a bone. For this case, I have created an example here, and let me show this. In this case here, I have the skeleton of a character. Maybe this is the spine here, and this is the hip, and these are the two legs. And this here is my hip control, if you will. And this bone here is the MOS bone here, this one. And you can see I have attached to this bone two joints, joint number 3 and joint number 6. And if I open here the hierarchy and I look which joint that is, then you can see joint 3 is this one and joint number 6 is this one. And if I go a bit closer here in the view, the pro on this method is with the movement of this bone here, the joints and the legs in this case are moving also. If I move it forward, the joints following, and up and down also. I also can twist this bone here. Under the bone tab is the twist slider, and if I drag it around, the joints will follow, and that gives us a really cool rig and flexible rig here for animating this character. Okay, that's enough for this chapter. We go forward to chapter number 4 and we talk about skinning.